Hey, fifth grade. Today we're going to continue in our grouping of poems revolving around the theme of growing up. We will be reading two poems written by eighth grade poets Hallie Hertz and Chris Kunitz. Our poems are entitled Practically Triplets and Call Me. Maybe the most painful part of growing up is the childhood friendships that don't stick. One kid grows one way and his best friend grows another, or a girl decides her closest friend isn't cool and walks away from her forever. The feelings of loss and betrayal are intense, but poetry can help. Chris and Hallie got some control over the experience and their feelings by crafting them as poems. Follow along with me as I read. Practically triplets. Do you remember? We were practically triplets, so close that the only way to separate us would be a long and painful surgery. Now when you see me, you won't even glance my way. You and your friends with your tiny stylish bikinis make me feel childish and ashamed of my green flowered suit. I stay underwater so you won't laugh at me. Do you remember the shoe flinging game on the swings when we hit our bare feet from the passing recess monitor? I do. Remember when we drew portraits of each other in third grade? Mine with a starry background, yours sunny, Siobhan's rainy? Our crayon faces, mismatched and lopsided, look nothing like our real ones. But you must remember, after our separation, the only words you said to me that whole year were, "I like your shirt." We were practically triplets, so close. Don't you remember? Now follow along with me as I read the poem Call Me. Call me. You don't call me, I don't call you. We grew up laughing and playing, so why do you keep saying I'm so different from you? I looked at you, you looked at me, and then you turned away. When you're smoking with your friends, what am I supposed to say? You don't call me, I don't call you. I'm into punk, you're into beer. When you see my clothes, you laugh and sneer with the guys. I don't need to inhale anything to be cool. I don't need to go drinking after school. Where, oh, where did the good times go? When you call me names, how do I go with the flow? You make fun of the way I act. You need to keep your new image intact. And you don't call me, I don't call you. All right. I want to point out a few things before you go back in. And today we're going to be talking about or commenting on really anything that you would like to talk about, either as a reader of poems or as someone who may have had a similar experience. So something that you noticed that the poet did, or like a situation or something that you can relate to in some way. So that's what you'll be adding comments about. So I'm looking for 3 comments on those things. Just a few things, though, I want to draw your attention to before I turn you loose to do that. I want you to pay attention to the use of repetition in both of the poems. If you choose to comment on the repetition as something that you noticed that the poet did or something that you liked that worked in this poem, tell me why you think that repetition works and what it does for the poem. We've talked about that a lot in class, so that should be an easy one if you should choose to do that. In Hallie's poem, Practically Triplets, I'd like for you to pay attention to the word you. Yes, you could have made comments on the fact that you is repeated a lot throughout the poem, but what I'd like for you to notice is that she doesn't name the person that she's talking about, and she by using the word you, she's addressing that person directly with this poem. So she's writing this poem for that person, or to help, almost like a what if conversation. What if I were faced with this person? What would I say to them? This poem is kind of a response to that scenario, or that question. So then the other thing I want you to pay attention to is the fact that each of these stanzas, the part where she talks about her bathing suit, and then the shoe flinging game, and then the portraits, these are very, very specific experiences which call up visual images for the reader. So we get to see the rejection and the hurt and how close they used to be, because in each of these stanzas um, she goes with details that are so specific that it actually comes to life for us. And then I think I just wanted to call your attention to the fact that Chris also addresses this former friend as you, not naming the person, but almost addressing this person in the poem as a response to, like I said, the conversation or the question, like, if you were to be with this person face to face, what would you say to them after living through this experience? And this poem is almost a response to that. So Call Me follows those same guidelines as Hallie's poem. And then obviously You is repeated throughout because they're addressing the friend that is no longer a friend. And I'd also like you to pay attention to the use of rhyming as well as repetition when you go into Call Me. So just remember, you may comment on any lines or words that you want to talk about as a reader of poems or as someone who has had a similar experience. So be as specific as you can. And if you'd like to share this with a classmate and get some feedback or have a conversation with them about this, feel free to do that. Otherwise, go ahead and make those comments. Be specific about what you would say about those things if we were here in class during discussion time. And then, as a writer of poetry, just remember that writing poetry can do lots of things for us. Maybe one of the best is the way that a poem can turn pain and confusion into art. As poets yourselves, know this, remember this. All right, guys, I love and miss you, and I cannot wait to see your faces soon. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Let me know if I can help you in any way. Bye.